Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to SST classes. Hope you all are fit and fine and enjoying your studies with SST classes. First of all, I would like to discuss one thing with my students, and that is if you want important questions related with chapter first history, then you can visit this channel. There will be a separate video for all the important questions. We can say that a 2 and 3 minute video will be there, in which you will find the most important questions related with the topics of chapter first we have already discussed, and along with that in future also, along with the topics, means after completing 2 and 3 topics, we will discuss separately the most important questions related with that topic. Okay, now in the last video we were discussing about the judicial system of the Mauryans, along with that Sung dynasty, Satavahan dynasty, and after that we discussed about the Guptas. Means we discussed about the Gupta dynasty, which was founded by Shrigupta in 275 Common Era. After that, Ghatotkacha, then Chandragupta first, Samudragupta, Chandragupta second, Kumargupta, Mahendraditta, and Skandagupta. Okay, and now here in this video, we are going to discuss about the contribution of Guptas in the sector of culture, or we can say that society. Okay, so what was the major contribution of Guptas for the Indian culture we are going to discuss here. Okay, so guys, at the time of Guptas, Vedic religion was prevalent. Means the Gupta rulers were the follower of Hinduism, they were the follower of Vedic religion, so they promoted Vedic religion a lot. Means their focus was on the Vedic religion, but along with that, they were religious, tolerant rulers. They provided equal protection to Jainism and Buddhism also. Means for all the rulers, all the religions, they had equal respect. Okay, the cultural contribution of the Guptas is most important. Means the period of Gupta dynasty is called as the golden period for Indian culture. Means we can say that at the time of Guptas, there was a great increasement, or we can say that there was a great encouragement for architecture, for literature, along with that for other elements of the culture, and that's why this period is called as the golden period of Indian culture. Here you can frame a question like, why Gupta period or the period of Gupta dynasty is known as golden period of Indian culture. Okay, so at the time of Guptas, Sanskrit was the official language. Means we can say that Sanskrit language got promotion at the time of Guptas. As we discussed, the inscriptions of Ashoka were written in Prakrit language. Means at the time of Ashoka, Prakrit was the official language, and the common language, means the language of the common masses, was Pali. So in this way, at that time, Sanskrit language didn't get promotion, but at the time of Guptas, this language was the official language, it was the state language, and in this way there was a great improvement in Sanskrit literature, or we can say that in the Sanskrit language. Okay, as the descriptions provided by Fayan, who visited the court of Gupta ruler Chandragupta II. Fayan, it is written as Faxin, but its pronunciation is Fayan. Okay, he was a Chinese traveler, visited the court of Gupta ruler Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II. He was the same who adopted the title of Vikramaditya, who was also known with Devgupta or Dev Raja. Can you remind that? His title was Devgupta, Dev Raja. Okay. So at the time of Chandragupta II, Fayan visited the court of Chandragupta II, and according to him, At the time of Gupta's, administration was suitable, means well managed administration was there, rarely happens, and along with that the burden of taxes was not so high, means there was a meager burden of taxes for the masses. Along with that, the famous play Abhigyan Sakuntalam, the famous play Abhigyan Sakuntalam, and a great epic Raghuvansham, a story related with Raghuvans, means with Rama and his dynasty. Okay, so the famous play Abhigyan Sakuntalam and Raghuvansham, or the great epic Raghuvansham, was written at the time of Guptas by Kalidas. I mean to say that the author, the writer of the famous play Abhigyan Sakuntalam and the great epic Raghuvansham, Kalidas, the author of Mudrakshas, Vishakhat, Mudrakshas, Vishakhat, and Mrijkatikam, Mrijkatikam, Shudrak, and the renowned Kauskar Amar Singh, renowned Kauskar Amar Singh, were all present during the Guptas. What I mean to say that is, at the time of Guptas, the famous poet Kalidas, who wrote Abhigyan Sakuntalam and Raghuvansham, along with that Vishakhat, author of Mudrakshas, Shudrak, author of Mrijkatikam, and the renowned scholar Kauskar Amar Singh was present. Means they all were present during the Guptas. Along with that, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Manusmriti, all got their present form during the Guptas. Okay, means Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Manusmriti in their present form was composed at the time of Guptas. Along with that, the Gupta period had a great contribution in the sector of maths and astrology. Means the famous astrologer Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta were present at the time of Gupta dynasty rulers, or at the time of Guptas, and they gave a great contribution in the development of maths and astrological values. Okay, the decimal system, Aryabhatta and Varamihi, Brahmagupta, all present. Varamihi, Brahmagupta, they all present during the Guptas. They gave a great contribution in development of maths and astrology. Along with that, at the time of Guptas, decimal system was developed in India, and this decimal system finally reached to Europe through Arabians. Means first of all from Arabians adopted that, and from Arabians this decimal system reached to Europe. The Guptas had a great contribution in the sector of architecture, painting, and we can say that metallurgical science. Okay, means what I mean to say that is, in the sector of architecture, painting, or we can say that drawing art, and in the sector of metallurgical science, they had a great contribution. M means metallurgical science, A means architecture, painting, and about this we find information from the remains of Jhansi and Kanpur. From the remains of Jhansi and Kanpur. Okay, from Ajanta caves. From Ajanta caves. And along with that, from the iron pillar, Mehrauli, Delhi. 80 feet tall copper statue of Buddha. 80 feet tall copper statue of Buddha. Copper statue of Buddha. Along with that, 7.5 feet tall copper statue of Buddha. Copper statue of Buddha from Sultanganj. Okay, all these remains give us information about the great development of architecture, painting and metallurgical science at the time of Guptas. What I mean to say that is, at the time of Guptas there was a great improvement in the sector of architecture, painting and metallurgical science, and the information about this development we find means about architecture from Jhansi and Kanpur remains, about painting from the caves of Ajanta, and about metallurgical science from iron pillar Mehrauli, Delhi. 80 feet tall copper statue of Buddha from Nalanda, and 7.5 feet tall copper statue of Buddha from Sultanganj. Is that clear? Along with all these kind of things, means along with making all these kind of things, they had a great contribution in the matter of religion also. They promoted the Vedic religion, and along with that they provided equal respect, equal protection to Jainism and Buddhism also. Means economically they assisted the Jain and both bhikshus also for the development of their religions. Is that clear? So in this way the topic related with the discussion of cultural contribution of Guptas has been completed, and here as the next we are going to discuss about the society during Guptas. Okay, the next point we are going to discuss here is related with the society during Guptas, which were the major characteristics of Gupta society. The point is Gupta's society. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about the Gupta society. So guys, at the time of Guptas, 4 varnas were there. Means 4 categories of varnas were present at the time of Guptas. The first one is Brahmin. The next one is Kshatriya. Vaishya and Shudra. So 4 categories of varnas were there: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. Is that clear? If we talk about the works related with these varnas, then the Brahmins were especially related with performing yajnas, and along with that study of Vedas. The major works of the Brahmins were related with the study of yajnas, and along with that studying the Vedas, means performing yajnas and studying the Vedas. Okay, now the next point is Kshatriya. Mostly the Kshatriyas were responsible for administration, or we can say that for protecting the other sections of the society, other varnas of the society. Vaishyas were specially related with trade, commerce and agriculture. And the last point is Shudras. The Shudras were the service provider. Okay, means the lowest section of the society was Shudras. At the time of Guptas, the Varnashram system was relevant, or we can say that at the time of Guptas, in the Varnashram system, the trade foundations were malleable, but the basis to decide the one was only the caste. It was not the action, not the verb. Mean to say that it was not so difficult to change the one during the Guptas, but even then, the base, the measure base to decide the one in the beginning was birth. Means it was decided by birth, not by action. Is that clear? Okay. Now, along with that, some subcaste were also present. Means along with these varnas, some subcaste were also there during the Guptas. For example, Ambastha, Mudraspati, Kar. Along with that, according to some descriptions, caste was a section or it was a subsection during the Guptas. Means in the beginning of the Gupta period it was just a subsection, but later it converted into a caste. Means caste also become a caste in the later year of the Gupta period. Is that clear? So in this way, at the time of Guptas in the society, mostly there were four varnas. Means varnashram system was present there, but along with that there some caste, there were some subcaste, okay, which were Ambastha, Mudravaspati and Gar. Okay, if we talk about the condition of women, then the women had a satisfactory condition during the Guptas. In the Gupta literature, women has been described as an ideal part of the society. Along with that, the presence of women was compulsory in the religious activities. Means for performing yagyas, the presence of women with her husband was compulsory. Is that clear? So in this way, the point or the discussion related with Gupta society has been completed, and now as the next we are going to discuss about next dynasty, and this dynasty is known as Vardhan dynasty or Pushyabhuti dynasty. So the next point is related with the Vardhan dynasty or Pushyabhuti dynasty. So the point is Vardhan dynasty. Another name is Pushyabhuti dynasty. Pushyabhuti dynasty. Here you can get a question like, why Vardhan dynasty was known as Pushyabhuti dynasty? Means was also known as Pushyabhuti dynasty. So what was the major reason behind that? Along with that, who was the founder of Vardhan dynasty? So guys, you have to keep it in your mind that this dynasty was founded in the 6th century. In the second half of 6th century by Pushyabhuti. So Pushyabhuti was the founder of this dynasty. That's why this dynasty is also known as the Pushyabhuti dynasty. Okay. Three major rulers of this dynasty were Prabhakar Vardhan. The first one is Prabhakar Vardhan. After the death of Prabhakar Vardhan, Rajyavardhan became the ruler. Rajyavardhan became the ruler, and the last ruler of this dynasty was Harshvardhan, about which we get information from Harshcharita written by Bharata. So Prabhakar Vardhan died, and after the death of Prabhakar Vardhan, he had two sons. So Rajyavardhan became the ruler. Okay, but he faced many difficulties in the beginning of his rule, and finally he was assassinated by God ruler Shashank. He was assassinated by God ruler Shashank in 606 Common Era. Means in the war he was killed by God ruler Shashank. Okay. After that, Harshvardhan became the ruler. Means Harshvardhan came in power in 606 Common Era. When Harshvardhan became the ruler, at that time conditions were not favorable for Harshvardhan. Means he had to face a lot of difficulties at the time of beginning of his rule. His brother Rajyavardhan was assassinated by Shashank, the ruler of God. Along with that, his sister left somewhere, means to save her life she left somewhere. That's why Harshvardhan was in trouble in the beginning of his rule, but finally means very early he overcome all these troubles and he chose his sister, and along with that he made an alliance with the ruler of Kamrup Asham. Means he made an alliance with the ruler of Kamrup, which is named as Bhaskar Varman. What I mean to say that is, to overcome the problem of Shashank, he made an alliance with the ruler of Kamrup, Bhaskar Varman. Along with that, he searched his sister. In this way, he was able to come up from all these problems which were present in front of Harshvardhan at the time of beginning of his dynasty. Beginning of his rule. Okay. According to a whole rock addict, he was defeated by Pulkesin II. He was defeated by Pulkesin II in 620 Common Era. Pulkesin II defeated him in 620 Common Era at the bank of river Narmada. Mean to say that at the bank of river Narmada, the army of Harshvardhan was defeated by Pulkesin II. According to a whole rock addict, we get information about that. In this way, the empire of Harshvardhan was extended from snow-laden Himalaya in the north, to Narmada in the south. Okay. In the same manner, Ganjam in the east to Vallabhi in west. Means we can say that most of the northern part of the country, central part, western part and eastern part till Bengal was under the control of Harshvardhan. Okay. His capital was Thaneshwar in the beginning, and then he shifted his capital to Kannauj. Means Kannauj was the capital of Harshvardhan in the second half of his administration. Okay, in the beginning it was Thaneshwar. Means this dynasty was started from Thaneshwar. According to the different descriptions, Harshvardhan was the follower of Lord Shiva. Means he was the worshipper of Lord Shiva and sun. And then he was attracted towards Mahayana Buddhism and adopted Mahayana Buddhism and become a follower of Buddhism. Means finally he adopted Buddhism. And the famous Chinese traveler Huen Shang, visited the court of Harshvardhan. And according to the descriptions of Harshvardhan, he used to perform a charity function on the confluence point of Ganga and Yamuna river near Prayagraj after every 5th year. Huen Shang also took part in such a function, means in the 6th function he took part in this. Means Huen Shang took part. Okay. After that, the next and the last point is Harshvardhan didn't have any war. Means he didn't have any son, and that's why with the death of Harshvardhan, this Vardhan dynasty came to an end, and finally Harshvardhan died in 647 Common Era. Okay, he became the ruler in 606 Common Era, and finally he died in 647 Common Era. And with the death of Harshvardhan, the Vardhan dynasty came to an end. Is that clear, guys? So in this video, we discussed about Harshvardhan, the ruler of Vardhan dynasty, the most important one. Along with that, the most important part or period of the Indian culture, which is the Gupta period. So we discussed about the cultural contribution of Guptas in the Indian history, in the development of Indian culture. If there will be any doubt while watching this video in your mind, you can write me in the comment section. I will definitely help you to resolve all your doubts. Don't forget to watch the video related with important questions. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.